Welcome to episode 2 of Common Sense Commanders by Security Squared. If you made it through the first episode, which I know was almost 20 minutes long, you will be rewarded by today's episode, which is short, to the point. It's a little sweet, and just really excited to get into it. So we're going to talk about network diagram software usage for just a minute, because we get this question asked a lot by a variety of different IT teams and leadership teams, and it's always the same thing. It's what software should we use to create a network diagram? So let's go and jump into the first slide here and talk about, my favorite thing. You throw a bunch of IT people from different companies in the same room and ask them which is the best software to create a diagram. And I have seen this. I dare you to try it. Ultimately, they will sit there and fight and scream. And so there are a bunch of different software options that we include, but they are not limited to Visio, Lucidchart, Draw.io, Wyad Graphics Editor, and even PowerPoint. I am not kidding. I have seen a bunch of different types from all of these different software platforms and more. And ultimately, we need to talk about what matters most with how to draw a network diagram. Before we even get into the next topic of actually drawing a network diagram, what do you use and what matters most? And so what we're going to talk about first is what works for the team, and collaboration is critical. So whatever software you're using, it has to be collaborative software. One IT person, and you may be an organization with one full-time IT person, or you may have a managed IT services provider where you have an entire team of people, or you may be an enterprise-sized company and you have, tens to hundreds of IT employees. Ultimately, the software or whatever you're using has to have a collaborative feature, because network diagrams should be updated at least once a year, and oftentimes it gets assigned to different people as the years change. So, when do you update? At least once a year. The other time you need to update is during any major change. So, for example, if you were an organization and all of your infrastructure for the past 10 years has been in-house and in a brick and mortar location where you have a series of servers or whatever, and you are moving to the cloud, you're going to have to make a change. Even if you made a change to the network diagram, say in January at the start of the new year, if you've just made a full migration, you need to upgrade or update that network diagram again. Save the old version, but then make a new version showing what has changed. Now, who should update the document? Well, pretty simple. Your IT people that are making the changes are the ones that should be updating the document. They are the ones that are authorized to see the document at any point. They are the ones that should be empowered to manage and maintain that document and have leadership presence supporting them in keeping that document updated. Finally, where does the document live? And I will tell you, there are some horror stories that I could share. One of my least favorite was that an engineer had saved the document on his computer on the desktop, and then he ended up having to deal with a security incident involving ransomware. Suddenly, and this was a pretty extensive network diagram, the entire diagram was lost, because while he's sitting there troubleshooting the security incident, he himself also got ransomware on his computer. And so he had to make the whole thing from scratch. Let's not do that. Let's save these documents in secure central locations where they do get backed up. A network diagram is a map to the entire infrastructure for a company. It is also a treasure trove for an attacker, and it is a fallacy when you accidentally delete the freaking thing and have to rebuild it. All right, we're going to talk about the final state for a minute. The final state of the network diagram is usually in a PDF form. Stop saving the PDF and then getting rid of the original version of the document. Okay, this can be, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, but this is pretty critical. Keep the original document, then save as a PDF. Save everything. Save last year's network diagram, save the year before diagram, everything. If the collaborative document itself is getting changed, save a PDF of the earlier version before you make an update. And so, of course, present and the future will bring changes. Embrace the change. All right, what to present, and this is usually with assessors and auditors and internal, and of course, if you're dealing with a consultant, you want to start off with presenting a PDF document. We see this all the time. Hey, here, assessor, auditor, here is our Visio document, here's our Draw.io, here's our GraphML document. Any version of this software, and instead of creating a PDF and giving it to them, you try to give it to them in whatever the native software is. Half the time they can't open it immediately and they ask you for a PDF version. The other half the time they can open it and they still ask you or request for a PDF version. Don't give an assessor, auditor, or another third-party organization, for example, during vendor risk management or vendor risk response, don't give them the original document. Give them a PDF, because you cannot alter the PDF as quickly or efficiently to support some sort of change that the assessor, auditor, or a third party thinks that they should make the change to. Just don't do that. Present a PDF. That's where it's important. Isn't that short and sweet, right? So, just wrapping it up. Choice of software. It's only bad if you can't work with authorized team members. If the software is one-time use only, we've seen this before. Oh, well, I didn't log in, but I used this free software online. I created the document. I saved it as a Word file or a PDF, and I don't have it. And, of course, if you're not updating it at least once a year, that's a bad thing. Save the final state, but also save the original document, please. And stop giving the original document to auditors or assessors. Thank you for staying awake during this one. Stay tuned for episode 3. Refresh the coffee, tea, or soda, and we will see you soon.